Hi, I'm Quentin Palfrey. I'm a proud Democrat running for Attorney General. I'm proud to have the endorsement of the Democratic Party for Attorney General. And as a former Assistant Attorney General, I've seen firsthand how much impact the Attorney General can have on Quincy and communities all across the Commonwealth. When Trump was in office, it was inspiring to see the AG fight back again and again and again against a corrupt and immoral administration. But now more than ever, with our fundamental rights under attack in the Supreme Court, with our democracy literally under attack, we need the AG to lead on taking on the really big challenges we face: racial injustice, the climate crisis, attacks on our democracy, attacks on workers' rights and abortion rights, LGBTQ rights, student loan debt and gun violence, housing costs. We've got a lot of work to do. The opioid crisis and the COVID pandemic have laid bare some of the really big shortcomings in our healthcare system. Healthcare costs too much. It's too hard to access care. We underinvest in mental health services and substance use treatment. I believe we need Medicare for all. I was the first chief of the healthcare division in the Attorney General's office at the time that we were implementing Massachusetts health reform. We worked hard to make sure that everyone had access to high-quality, affordable healthcare. We sued some predatory health insurance companies that were lying to patients and denying them cancer treatments, and we kicked them out of Massachusetts. And that's a good example of what the people's lawyer can do, like when the Attorney General sued Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family, whose lies helped bring us the opioid crisis. The AG can also play a really big role in building an economy that works for everyone, because right now the economy works best for those at the very top and for big corporations. I had the great honor to serve in the White House under President Barack Obama as senior advisor for jobs and competitiveness. I went back into the federal government on day one of the Biden-Harris administration. I led a team of several hundred lawyers and helped to launch the Build Back Better agenda. As AG, I'm going to fight for economic equality. I'm going to fight against wage theft and against companies misclassifying workers and taking away their benefits. We got to fight for a fair share amendment so that those at the top pay a little bit more so we can invest in transportation and in education. Our trains shouldn't be on fire, and where you live shouldn't determine what kind of an education your children get. We're almost 70 years after Brown versus Board of Education. Our schools are still segregated. There's still too much difference between the life opportunities we give to children depending on where they grow up. And as the chief civil rights officer in the Commonwealth, I'm going to take on that economic and educational inequality as the civil rights crisis that it is. We got to take on racial injustice in other ways too. The murder of George Floyd and the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict are just the most recent reminders that there are two justice systems in America. We imprison too many people for too long for doing too little, and race has too much to do with who ends up in the criminal justice system. We've got to take on the climate crisis. I'm proud to have the support of Sierra Club and 350 Mass in this race, and what we do now or fail to do is going to determine what kind of life our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren face. As AG, I'm going to bring urgency to the fight against the climate crisis. We got to stand up against the Supreme Court that's fundamentally attacking our civil rights. We need the best abortion rights laws in the country. We've got to protect people coming from out of state who are fleeing persecution and bounty hunters. And we've got to defend our civil rights against what's coming next, because we can see the Supreme Court is also going to take aim at LGBTQ rights, at equal marriage, at the right to contraception, maybe even the right to interracial marriage. We've got to stand up against gun violence, and we've got to protect our democracy. An armed mob stormed the Capitol to try to disrupt the peaceful transition of power, and we need to do everything we can to protect our democracy here at home. And if I have the great honor to be the Attorney General, I'm going to stand up against special interests. I'm going to take on the climate crisis. I'm going to work for an economy that works for everyone. racial justice, urgent action on gun violence, because that's what the people's lawyer does. That's the kind of attorney general that I'm going to be, and I'd be honored to earn your support. We're running a really grassroots campaign. You can find out more or get involved at QuentinPalfrey.com. Thank you so much. I'm Quentin Palfrey. I'd be honored to have your support.